Right, so we'll kick off the broadcast section here, which is embargoed until it's finished, then we'll move into a section for the written. We'll start with Kirsty Edwards on Passport.
Afternoon, Brendan. Before we get into the game, just more generally, it looks like we could be returning to 5 substitutions next season. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, certainly haven't experienced it over these the course of this season. I would be very much in favour of it. I was probably one of the ones at the beginning, was more to say that let's just stay with 3 and see where we're at and take a look at it. But certainly haven't had a look at it over the course of the season. I would say that primarily for the health of the players, and then I think the 5 substitutions would work much better.
You don't share the fear that it really benefits those at the very top, the ones with, that real strength and depth in their squads?
It can do, but ultimately it's about the players. I've been in situations in games where, having had European football and even some of the cup competitions, been able to make 5, it has allowed us to take players off who were maybe suffering, especially in a season like what it's been for ourselves this year. It's been having an arm behind your back at times, where I'd have loved to have made the extra couple of subs to help a player recover. Instead, he's had to stay on and has got injured. So, listen, whether it's 3 subs or 5 subs, the top teams will always have top players, but ultimately, I think the view in it all is it's for the benefit of the player, and for me, the 5 would work better.
Well, staying on that theme, how is your team looking for this weekend? Any changes from the squad that we saw before the break?
Yeah, well, the players are starting to come back now, which is great. Johnny Evans will be available, whether he plays the whole game or not. Starts or comes off the bench, we'll see. But it's great to have him back. He's at 60+ minutes in the international team, and looks very, very good. So we have to build him up. Wesley will be back involved as well. And starting to get players starting to return back. Luke Thomas, picked up an injury with the 21s, so he's a doubt for the weekend. But other than that, be the same squad. Wilfred and Ndidi, unfortunately, will be out for the season, so it's a shame for us. But he'll get ready in for next season.
How key is that, having Johnny Evans back available?
Well, it's very important. Johnny's a player that's been a huge influence in my time here. He's the one player that he's played at the very top level of the game, right the way through his career, and he has the view of the very highest level. And not only that, he practices that every day. Standards every single day is top level. So his influence on our team is huge. So to have him back, even though he's not 100% match fit yet, but we'll work him through to the end of the season. But it's a big plus to have him available, as well as obviously Wesley and the other guys.
On the flip side, losing Ndidi is a big hit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been unfortunate. Been a brilliant player for me in the time here, but I just picked up a nasty injury that he's had to have surgery in, and he'll recover now through till June. But on the other side, Papis Mendy has come in and done great, and been very unfortunate. We thought he was leaving in the summer. He wasn't in the squad, and then didn't hardly play virtually for the first half of the season, apart from in international games. He's done great for Senegal. He's come back, but he's always been a brilliant professional, and so we gain a player in him, and he's done very, very well since he's come back into the squad.
Where are you at with Jamie Vardy? How close is he to...
But just say, we're day by day, really. He's certainly not ready for the weekend, but we'll assess it over the next week to 2 weeks.
What are you expecting from Manchester United? It's often hard to know this season. They can be a bit hit and miss at times.
Well, what I know is they have absolutely top-class players. They got players that can change the course of a game. We've maybe the last couple of seasons, our record's been good against Manchester United, but it counts for nothing. You really have to be really focused in the game. You have to play to the highest level, physically and tactically, and then you hope then your quality can come through. So So yeah, they've got brilliant players, and they're playing at home, so they'll want to win. But for us, we can really go and enjoy it. We know we have to play a physical game, be really aggressive with and without the ball, and and we've shown in our last 4 occasions that we can do that well.
Do you think some of the criticism that they faced has been fair at times?
It's just expectation. One of the biggest clubs in world football, the scrutiny that they'll be under, you see it. It happens at the biggest clubs in the world, and that's what Manchester United are. Great tradition, great history, and when you've had that big history, then the expectation is measured against that. So obviously when Sir Alex was there and the success that they've had, and obviously since he's left, it's been a real challenge. But I'm pretty sure, in the coming years, they get that strategy right and get back to winning, and that will always be the expectation at Manchester United.
One of the players who's faced criticism has been Harry Maguire. What did you make to the booing that he faced with England this week?
I suppose my question would be, what help does it do to a player? I think that's what I would say. By nature of the word supporter, you're there to support. And I found it disappointing for him. I know Harry from my time here. He's a brilliant guy. He's a very, very good player. And I know that he has the tools to overcome it. You need resilience in this game. He's obviously been a part of a team at Manchester United that have had the focus on them this year, but that's what comes from being at the big club. But he's a resilient guy. He's a very good player. I'm just disappointed that whatever happens in your club, you go into your international team, and I think everyone would agree that internationally, Harry's been a great player for England over these last 3 to 4 seasons. I think he was in the player of the tournament in one of the tournaments that he was in, and then he's helped the team get to the final. So, but maybe it's just the modern world. Patience maybe is short now, and people, but still, I would go back to where I started. It doesn't do any player any good, and if you're there to support, you support through the good and the bad, and unfortunately for him, it hadn't even started the game.
Thank you. All the best.
Hey, mate. Just touching on the 5 substitutes, could that be beneficial? You've talked about the upside of many things. Could that be good for academies, do you think? People will obviously talk about depths of squad, but could it be good for an academy and blooding young kids?
It just depends on your philosophy. I think whether you have 3 subs or 5 subs, it doesn't really matter. I think you have to have the want to play young players or not. There's enough spaces on the bench for young players if they're ready. People talk about young players, and there's not a bigger advocate of young players than myself. But at the same time, the players have to be ready. But yeah, I just think that you have to want to play young players first and foremost. And if you do, then there's an opportunity there, maybe in some occasions where you can use them.
Touching on the Harry Maguire thing, obviously you're going to bump into him this weekend. What was your defence when he came into your office and said that he wanted to leave? How did you plead Leicester to him in favour of Manchester United?
Harry, I have to say, in the period I arrived at the end of February through to the end of the season was exceptional, and everything he did for me. And it's one of the things I really hold up from when he left was his behaviour, because I've been through the game now for a number of years, and every coach and manager will tell you behaviours of players can be different, especially in situations like this here. But he was an absolute role model in terms of, he's got Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, wanting him. He respected that he was still a Leicester player. He respected everything that Leicester did for him. And I always look at that behaviour over the course of the summer, because I'd spoken to him in the off-season when we were both away. It was clear the interest from Man United, but the club were determined for Man United to meet the valuation, and not before that would he leave. So that can be a really frustrating time maybe for a player. But he never ever once showed it. He trained hard every day. He came in. He didn't isolate himself. He was still with his mates. We went away to Evian. We'd done lots of workshops and everything out there that he could have not played a part in. He played a big part in them. He came back. It continued. And then he had the chance to leave. And he was just, a good man, a good guy who respected what Leicester gave them. Leicester were getting the money, and then he had the chance to go to one of the biggest clubs in the world. And I'll always support him in every way because of that and because of what a good man he is.
Do you believe he made the right decision?
Well, for him it was. And the chance to go, and I said to him at the time, when you leave here and you go to such clubs like Manchester United or Liverpool, these clubs, the pressure will be nothing like you've ever known. The spotlight is on you every day. There's a story every day, whether it's true or untrue, it's there. And you have to deal with that. And there's a laser focus that's onto you in the big clubs. But as I said earlier, he has the common sense, he has the patience, and he has the resilience to go through it. And he's also a very, very, very good player. So yeah, it's very hard to turn down that opportunity, and like I say, in the main he's done very well there. It's been an indifferent season maybe for them and because of the expectations, but I don't doubt his qualities. When
you look back to the game earlier in the season, incredible game. As a manager, you probably don't want to see too many of those, do you, for the heart? But it's kind of indicative of their season, isn't it?
Well, I can only talk about us. I thought we were excellent in the game. We did very well. We played some great football. They scored, a couple of very, very good goals. The first one in particular. And we showed the mentality and the resilience to come back. And at 2 each, we still wanted to win the game, and we went on and scored another 2 goals. So it was a great game of football, and if it's a game like that and we win, then I'll be really happy.
Cheers, Brendan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hi, Brendan.
Hi.
Just one more on Harry Maguire. Have you been in touch with him at all? Obviously not your player anymore, but have you been in touch with him since what happened the other night? Because you've clearly got a lot of support still from this neck of the woods for him.
Yeah, I haven't been of recent, but I have been in contact since Harry's left here. Yeah, he's like I say, he's someone that I worked with in that small period of time I was here, and have a lot of time for him as a man. So he's strong enough. He'll come through any sort of issues that he has. It's just disappointing for him and his family. It wasn't that long ago. All the England supporters were wearing masks and praising him to the hilt. So it's the irony that it's gone the other way a little bit. But I'm pretty sure it's only a very, very, very small minority. He's a good guy. He's got a lot of support around him. From the guys here in Manchester and everywhere else, and he'll play his way through whatever issues he has.
The international break, with everything that you've gone through this season when it comes to injuries, did it come at a good time for your squad? And can you kind of take us inside what you've been up to over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, but I think approaching the weekend, we were starting to get players back, and our form is, had picked up. We won 5 of our last 7 games, 3 of the last 4 in the Premier League, and it just coincided with some of the better players coming back, or influential players. Yeah, this week obviously we had a number of players away, international duty, but we still able to get some work into some of the guys that were here. Some guys needed some recovery and some work with the rehabilitation team. There's been a chance to, like I say, continue some detailed work with the players that were here, introduce some young players up into our training as well. And then obviously our first session, with all due respect, with them all coming back, they just all arrived back today. So we'll do a session tomorrow and then get ready for the game.
Been plenty of challenges while you've being Leicester manager, I mean, COVID, all of that and behind closed doors and whatnot. Can you just put into context for me how challenging this season has been as a whole for you and your group with the unheard of amount of injuries that you have had to experience?
Yeah, naturally it has been because we've been used to being up there fighting towards the top of the table. And I believe still that we've got a really good squad that can compete at that end when they are available. So hopefully we can get those players back. But in the meantime, you just got to continue working, developing, see where you can improve. That's important. I always respect that the game is very much about today, so you have to get results for today. But we're always looking to tomorrow and improve the team and then look to an exciting period now in these last 2 months. We finish as high as we can in the league and go as far as we can in the cup competition we're in. So there's still lots of optimism around and of course our confidence has improved with our results.
Yeah, just finally on that, you'd sit in 10th. There is a bit of a gap to 8th. What is feasible? What is realistic as far as closing that gap? And
just look to win as many games as we can and see where we finish.
Appreciate your time. Good luck.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Hi, Brendan. You okay?
Hi,
You mentioned Luke Thomas picked up an injury with the under-21s. What is that injury and how long are you looking at being without him for? Is it something he'll get over pretty quickly?
Yeah, I think he'll struggle for the weekend. It was an issue around his hamstring. So yeah, they sort of had a look at it with England, but felt that he probably wasn't going to be available for the second game, so sent him back, and he's continued with his rehab here.
And Mark Albrighton as well. I know you said he might be available after the international break. Is he ready to go this weekend?
Yeah, he's available. Yeah,
perfect. I wonder, Brennan, how you've tried to utilise the international break. What is the best way when you've got so many players away within their international teams, about how you sort of use that break to get the most out of it that you can?
Well, it's a mixture really. That there's some players need to recover a little bit. Players that have been playing a lot. Players that maybe picked up slight knocks that you don't want to take any risk with. There's other players that will need training and they've had some specific work and trained hard and trained well. And then a little bit of recovery over the course of the weekend. So and then obviously this week they've continued to work. But like I say, it's limited in terms of the sort of overall structure of the team. But we've looked at specific areas of which we can function and look to continue developing. And that's the job of whether it's international break or outside of that. You're always looking to develop the individual player. So that's something that will always continue whether we're playing games or not.
Is it, I suppose, like a toss-up of the benefits of not having the Premier League and the Europa Conference League to deal with, and there may be some time for some players to get back to a level of fitness that you'd want them to, and then you have other players that are playing 2-3 games in a short period of time in a different system in a different country with all the travelling that goes with that. And do you feel like you can come back into the Premier League with a level squad, or is it about working through the next 3 weeks quite delicately with some of these players?
Yeah, well, I think the likes of, for example, if you look at Johnny, the international break was great. He came back a little bit earlier than we anticipated. So when we felt that he was in the week leading into the final weekend of the season, we thought, well, Johnny can come onto the bench for us. But what would work well for us and for Northern Ireland is if he maybe got some minutes and trained with the Northern Ireland team. Johnny's very proud to play for his country, so we got in contact with Ian, and he was obviously not expecting him to be fit, but we declared that he would be, and if he could get some game time in the first game, that would be great. So he went away, trained, played 60+ minutes, and has come back in a good feeling. Trained this week. We'll see what happens against Manchester United, how long he can play or not. But we just build that through. So that's an example of where the international break worked for him. For other players that are non-internationals, a little bit of recovery, like Barnes had a sort of ankle knock. So we give him a bit of recovery time, but he's now back training and trained well this week. And for the other players, it's just a continuation of their development.
Final one, Brendan, but you mentioned expectation around Manchester United and how big it is around a club like that. Is that something you can use to your advantage, that expectation surrounding a club? And I suppose maybe it takes the limelight off yourselves a little bit.
Not really. I think you have to go in thinking of yourself. That's always been the mantra. My focus is really for us to go and play our game, play our football. I've got enough to worry about, rather than worrying too much about other teams. Manchester United will obviously come back in and they'll want to, really be challenging for that fourth place, and especially playing at home, they'll want to get the 3 points. For us, it's us looking to bring our game, looking to bring that aggression, that intensity, and then looking to play the football that we've been playing of recent, and then look to improve on that, because we get still areas that we can improve on. The second half against Brentford, it was a fantastic result for us on the back of a really busy period. But there's lots of elements of the first half that I can analyse from the game that we can be better in, and that's something that we will look to bring into our next game.
Brendan, thank you very much. Good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Guys, we'll end the broadcast section there. We'll move into the